This is Up for Debate, episode number 289, recorded February 12th, 2025. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this super spectacular edition of Up for Debate. I'm Sean Jennings, joined as always by the co-host with the most original IP. It's Matt Mariani. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Sean. I'm excited to be here. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
Oh, Matt, this is my Oscars right here. This is my Super Bowl. One of my favorite events we do all year. Our 10th edition of the Up for Debate Movie League is happening tonight. And Matt, we're supersizing it this year.
We are. I've heard that we are taking it to the next level. But you mentioned the Super Bowl, Sean, and I know that We'll be talking more Super Bowl on next week's show. I just want to let you know and everybody else know at home. That's right. Go Birds. Thank you. I am wearing my sweatshirt. Go Birds.
Go Birds. Now, as I
Go
pointed
Birds.
out, Matt, that could be 3 or 4 NFL teams. Would you mind being more specific?
It can only be. There's only one real Bird team. I think we know which one it was and which one showed up and won the Lombardi Trophy this weekend.
The New
So,
Orleans Pelicans.
It's the America's bird.
Oh, the turkey.
I asked fun fact. I asked my sister-in-law, who's like something of a bird expert. She's not like a real bird expert, but she does like does like bird watching and stuff. And I said, which like of all the NFL birds, I told her like what the bird NFL birds were, like which one could like indisputably win in a fight with all the other birds, and she was like the Eagles have it. Like all the other NFL birds don't even like compare to an eagle.
Did she
So,
do that thing where like she didn't know what to say, looked around the room, saw an eagle on your shirt, and said eagle?
damn it, Sean, it's like you were there.
Yeah. Matt, I've met you. I assume your family's very similar. Guys, we've got a humdinger of an episode tonight. I'm very excited. I don't want to waste any time. I want to get right into it. We're going to spend a little time recapping the 24 season, introducing our teams, and then we got 20 movies we're going to auction tonight. Let's dig on in. I got a few notes here. Frankly, I have a ton of notes. We got to talk about 2024. We just wrapped up the 2024 league. Guys, it was one for the record books. Our highest total league gross ever, over $5.5 billion domestic between all of our movies. And it's the first season ever with 3 teams grossing over $1 billion. Huge for the league, huge for the movie industry. I want to start with our last place finisher and work our way up to the champion. So we're going to start in 5th place with $907 million. Now that's the highest last place total we've ever had in league history. So by no means a failure. In fact, that number would have beaten 3 past winning teams. That's how much money we grossed this year. Dan and Sarah in 5th place. Congratulations.
Thank you. We worked really hard.
Of course, last year you drafted from a restaurant. This year from a train. And this year they are 28 movie drafts later. So looking forward to talking to you guys tonight and getting you some more movies. In 4th place, Colby and Laura, last year, they were friends. This year they're married. They got $946 million in the league last year. And a piece of trivia, last year they had the greatest value buy in the history of the movie league. They bought Twisters for $6 and it grossed $267 million. That's a top 10 film in 2024 for only $6. They came in 4th place. It's Colby and Laura. It's an audio medium, but the thumbs up and waving is good too.
Oh, we can't.
No, it's video too. So no,
That's great. This year, we're not as drunk as we were last year. So
will it help?
No, it's hard to say.
Yeah. I will say, Colby, I think because you've done this a very long time. Your strategy, I feel like, is always just buying the most movies. Is that still your strategy this year?
I don't know. It's never worked before.
So why change course now? Well, I'm excited to see once the auction gets started. In 3rd place, with a gross of $1 billion, Matt and Heather, congratulations. I will say, talking about trivia, You guys have bought the lowest grossing movie for the third year in a row. It was Lord of the Rings, the something of the something made $9 million, which I learned after the fact, by the way. The only reason they made that movie was a legal obligation in order to keep the rights to Lord of the Rings. They had no plan to ever make money on it. So isn't that funny? Matt and Heather, this year, you guys are Mother Storm. Welcome.
Wow. Thanks. What a fun fact that is.
I apologize. I really wouldn't have included if I had known, but it came out and they were
No,
like,
I think it's awesome.
that, and I think Playmobil the movie, which is I think the lowest grossing one we've ever had was one of yours. So
We bought that? Oh,
yeah,
good for us.
yeah. But apparently good you forgot. Next up in second place, they also grossed $1 billion. They beat Mether by just $50 million, which is a pretty thin margin here. Their best ever performance in the history of their time here in the league. Brian and Kaylee, represented by Kaylee this evening. Hello, Kaylee.
Hello. Thank you for that introduction.
Listen, hey, second place is nothing to sneeze at. You've been working your way up. Who knows? Maybe we'll be first place this year.
Our year.
Who knows? Anything could happen, especially with the new supersized league. And lastly, our first place team, they grossed $1.4 billion. That's the highest team gross in league history. And they owned 3 of the top 10 movies of the year, which is really hard to do in this format. First place, Mike and Laura. Now, they're not here. You may have noticed. They have what I'm told is a baby. And things to do. So they have very graciously bowed out of the league this year. They've actually won, I think, 3 times. They are for sure are the Michael Jordan of this league, but it gives us an opportunity to open it up to a brand new team, which I'm very excited. We've brought them over from our sister podcast, Tomorrow is Canceled. It is Pat and Nick, a.k.a. Artificial Guessing Intelligence. Good evening, guys.
How's it going, Sean? Everything good?
Everything's wonderful. We're very excited to have some fresh blood jumping into the league, and there's never been a better time here in season 10.
Oh yeah, I'm loads excited. Not nervous at all.
No, it's low. Again, there's no prize, so you can't feel bad if you lose, right?
Is that prize thing still up for negotiation?
Okay,
or
no, absolutely. Listen, I'll pay you out what I've made doing this show over the 8 years that we've done it, which is negative money. So. No, listen, we got a great show tonight. I appreciate all of you being here. I want to talk about the rules for a second, and then we're going to get right into the auction. If you've watched the league before, you're a little bit familiar, but we got some new rules this year that's going to totally change how this thing operates. So we've got 5 teams. Each team is going to start with 150 fake dollars. They're not real dollars, but they are going to use those dollars to buy movies. We have a list of 20 tonight. What they're buying is each movie's domestic box office gross, not worldwide, domestic. At the end, we total up all those grosses. Whoever makes the most money wins. It's that simple. But this year, it's a little different. Historically, we've done 30 movies for a year. Tonight, we're drafting 20 movies because we're going to come back in July and draft another 20 movies for a total of 40. That $150 has to carry you across all drafts for the whole year. So there's some strategy that's going to play into this. At the end of 2025, across those 40 movies, whoever makes the most domestic box office is going to take home the NOP prize. So my question is, are you all ready?
Ready.
Outstanding. I could hear the thunderous applause all the way from here. Let's get this up here. We're going to be using the chat. If you're watching the video version on YouTube, you see these faces on the screen, but you'll also see the chat. That's where the auction's going to happen, and of course, I'll be auctioneering it throughout. Our 20 movies begins with Marvel. In fact, we have 2 Marvel movies happening in these 20. It is Captain America. I almost said Captain America World Police, but that's a totally different thing. Captain America Brave New World. It's releasing this weekend, February 14th. If you can believe it, it is actually, sorry, I got to flip my notes to the other page here. It's actually the 35th MCU film, which sounds kind of crazy when you think about it that way. And the 4th Captain America film. It's a follow-up to the Disney Plus series Falcon and the Winter Soldier, introducing Sam Mackie as Anthony Mackie as Captain America in his fancy new Falcon suit. The good news, guys, it is officially up for bid. So we'll start taking bids here in the chat. Just type in your amounts right in the chat. I'll read $2 to Dan Miller, $2 to Dan and Sarah out there. I got to remember all the new team names. We got $3 to Colby, $4 to Dan. Dan just outbid himself to $5.
Well, on mine, Kaylee beat me.
Kaylee went to 6. So there you go. McTastical hanging in there for $6. We've got 9 out to Mother Storm, 10 over to 28 movie drafts later, 15 to Nick. I like these big jumps. 16 to Dan. We're working our way up. I'll tell you, Marvel hit or miss recently. I've got another fun trivia fact when we get to the next Marvel movie. It's staying with 16 for Dan, though. Is he going to get a steal here? No, we got 17 from Colby. Colby got $17 along with Laura. I just read the Zoom names, so I'm trying to be nice because there's 2 people on each team. 18 to Dan Miller. We got $18 right here for Captain America, Brave New World or whatever it's called. $18 going once. We got 20 from Colby. 20 from Colby. Really wants his first movie. It's our first movie, guys. I've never done the stats to see if whoever buys the first one wins the whole thing. Maybe they do. $21 to Dan. It's Dan and Colby at this point, but anyone's welcome to jump in. 25 from Nick. Not fooling around. Look at him. He's stone cold. He wants this one. He just may get it. $25 from Nick. Going once. Going twice. And we are, I forgot I got to type it in, sold to Nick for $25. Nick, what's the thought on that? Any particular strategy you want to share? No, just thumbs up. He likes it. He wants it. He got it.
You probably should have let me tell you the Rotten Tomatoes score on that one before you bid on it, Nick.
Yeah, I believe the review I read today said that Marvel now just produces slop, but people pay for slop, so it's not about the reviews, it's about the box office. So, you never know.
Friend of the show, Harrison Ford is in this movie.
It was a Cherry Coke summer with Harrison Ford. We know him well, but not from Marvel, which we do now. And by the way, when you talk about Captain America, this next movie pairs perfectly with it. Because when I think big budget superhero action film, I think Paddington in Peru. Also coming out this weekend, it's the 3rd movie in the series. The first came out in 2014, grossed $76 million. Its sequel in 2017 grossed $40 million. It's 8 years later, and people are bringing back the beloved Paddington franchise, and it is now officially open for bids. $5 to Dan for Paddington in Peru, a nice child film here. $6 to Kaylee, an interesting one, a little more of an international film than a lot of these. 7 to Dan. Will that affect the domestic box office? 10 to Colby and Laura. Thank you for updating your Zoom name. I caught that. That's very helpful. Dan and Sarah for 11. Inching our way up. We got some early players here. We got 11 with Dan Miller. They're spending their 150. 11 going once. No, 15. Wow, quite a jump. Colby loves that little marmalade-loving bear. 16 to Dan. We got 16 to Dan and Sarah. Interesting here. 16 going once. 16 going twice. They're Colby and Laura debating, but they are not going to get it. $16 to Dan Miller. I mean, that's the beauty of the league. Nick says in the chat, I love Paddington, but I'm out. You can love the movie. Doesn't mean you got to buy it. But definitely the scorekeepers have this one. I'm sorry. No, they don't. Dan got it. I should know this. Dan got it. Dan and Sarah, 28 movies draft later for a whopping $16. And speaking of kids' films, we somehow have 2 Disney live-action remakes coming out this spring. We're talking about the first. When you think Disney, you think of the classics. Snow White, the animated film from 1937 based on the story from 1812. Well, it's 2025, and they decided to make it with CGI this time. Snow White coming out on March 21st. The last non-sequel live-action Disney remake was The Little Mermaid in 2023, which grossed $300 million domestic. Will Snow White have the juice? We're going to find out. Snow White is now open for bids. And Dan's in early with 1. Kaylee goes to 5. Dan goes for 6. Oh, but Pat, the first bid from Pat, 7. But Colby immediately jumps in. He and Laura take it for 9. $9 right here. Listen, Disney prints money, but these live-action remakes can be a little bit hit or miss. Mufasa did really well, actually, this past winter. We're already up to 13 from Colby right now. Kaylee's in on the action. Everyone's in on the action on this one. They want a little piece of those weird little CGI dwarfs. 14 for Kaylee. $14 here on the bid. 14 going once. 14. No, and Colby and Laura jump in with that 15. We're inching our way forward here. $15 seems to be, could be the going price. 15 going once. No, and Kaylee jumps in at 16. She wants this one. 16 going once. 16 going twice. And no, 17. I swear my finger was on the button. That one was close. The question is, will Kaylee take it all the way to 18, or will she be biting the evil apple? Which is that one, right? No, that's Sleeping Beauty. Wrong one. Okay. 18 for Kaylee. 18 going once. 18 going twice. And she's going to get it. Kaylee, I got to hear, what is the thought on Snow White here? You're obviously the mom of a young daughter, the perfect demographic for this. Do you think she's going to get excited for Snow White?
Oh yeah, these remakes are they're money makers.
They're crack for kids.
They're not good, but
but I guarantee
people
Kaylee,
like them
you're going to get stuck watching it. So
at least 100 times, I'm sure.
yes, get excited for that. Awesome. All right. Well,
I might as well win if I'm watching it a million times.
Yeah, your personal money will pay towards the towards your gross. So, wonderful. 3 movies in. We're going to get to the 4th. All my notes say for this one is based on a 2011 video game, and I'm very baffled by this movie. It's a Minecraft movie, and it is coming out April 4th. I'm sure if Brian were here, he'd bid $1,000 for it, but thankfully he's not. So all of you are going to get a shot. It's a Minecraft movie, and it is now open for bids. And don't all jump at once. The kids love the blocks. $5 to Colby and Laura. Oh, we got Pat, Matt, and Dan all go for 6 at the same time, but Dan wants it. He'll put in for 7. Tick, tick, tick. 7. 10 to Matt. 11 to Nick. Everyone's got a hand in this one. Dan for 12. Now, you got to remember, the thing about Minecraft is they're squares. Dan for 12 right now. 13 over to Nick. 14 to Dan. 15 to Matt. 16 to Dan. Wow. This is incredible. 17 to Nick. 18 to Dan. Hot bidding war here on this one. Our hottest so far. 18 to Dan. 19 to Nick. We got a lot of money flying early here, guys. Remember, we got 40 movies you'll be bidding on. 19 to Nick. 20 to Matt. This is why we took it to 150, so we'd have a little more bid action here. 20 to Matt. Nice round number. Is it going once? Is it going twice? Teams are thinking sold to Matt and Heather for 20. I would ask Matt what he thinks, but I know what he thinks. Heather, what do you think of owning a Minecraft movie?
Love it.
That's it. Back up your teammate, man.
Excited.
That's how you do it. Don't second guess because you can't unsell it.
It's that Jack Black magic. Everything he touches turns to gold.
You didn't see Borderlands, did you?
Nobody
No.
did.
Nobody did.
Yeah, learned that the hard way. Excellent. Well,
Except
hey,
for
listen,
Pat.
guys.
Pat definitely saw it. Pat, you saw it.
I don't know what you're talking about. Didn't watch it at all.
You probably saw it like 5 times, but all right.
Interestingly enough, we only have 5 non-franchise movies out of the 20 we're bidding on, and we're going to hit the first one, which is Sinners, written and directed by Ryan Coogler, the mind behind Black Panther and Black Panther 2 and loads of other projects. It stars Michael B. Jordan in a sort of film. And so you can have it. It comes out on April 18th. Who wants this one? The bid is officially open. And we're already up to 3 from Pat. 4 from Dan, 5 from Colby and Laura, 6 from Dan. Everyone's getting in on the action early. But I will say, Dan and Sarah not being shy, but Pat wants this one for 7. Dan wants it for 8. We're still going back and forth. Pat's got to look. He's thinking. Dan's got it for 8. It's hanging, but I'm going to hit the button here going once. 9 from Nick. 10 from Dan. You know, I'm starting. Is the strategy, guys, to just bid up Dan and Sarah here on every movie? Because you're doing a pretty good job. We got 11 from Pat right here. The question is, Dan and Sarah.
We did get Paddington.
Oh, I was about to say, are you going to let this one go and overbid these guys? We got Pat for 11. $11 going once. $11 going twice. And it is sold. Pat and Nick get their second movie here with Sinners for $11.
Thanks, Sean. Super excited to own that one, especially with Pat being in a church.
Exactly. Hey, listen.
I got a lot of faith in Ryan Coogler.
Michael B. Jordan. I mean, come on. It's going to be in a sea of weird movies like our next one. Maybe this one will stand out. So Sinners is off the board, and we're going to continue into The Accountant 2, the sequel. Literally nobody asked for. It is a sequel to the 2016 film starring Ben Affleck as the titular accountant. That movie grossed $86 million. Will this one do better in 2025? Whoever buys it's going to find out. I haven't opened the bid yet, Nick. Come on. You got to wait until... All right. We're going to kick that one out. The Accountant 2 comes out on April 25th. Now we are officially open for bids on The Accountant 2. $2 to Dan. On this one, I know Dan is a massive Ben Affleck fan. He's a member of the Affleck Army. $4 to Pat right now. $5 to Colby and Laura. We're spreading the love here early on The Accountant 2. $5 to Colby and Laura. Could be a nice pocket pickup for those guys. They like their little movies. Colby and Laura, $5. Going once. Going twice. And... sold for $5 to Colby and Laura. Could this be their next Twisters? I think no. But we're going to find out. Congratulations on that one. Did you guys see the first Accountant? I have to ask.
No, but my mom loved it.
Oh. And is your mom usually like an arbiter of great box office performance?
No.
Oops.
Now,
But
I
not.
couldn't
She's
find
not.
a budget on that movie.
She's not. I'm just saying.
Okay.
You know.
I mean, last year we purchased Twisters because my mom loves Twister.
There you go.
You know, maybe the mom threat here is there's something
That
to
would have
it.
been a great team name, the Mom Threat.
You know, missed opportunity.
That's a great question, Dan. I apologize if so. No joke. I don't know why yours is not working. Oh, I see what I did. Okay, sorry. There's a glitch in the spreadsheet I'm using. Give me about 20 seconds and I'll update it. In the meantime, how is everybody feeling about how they're doing so far? Any early thoughts? Any early trends we're sensing here?
Everyone has spent about the same amount of money, which normally that's not the case. Normally that someone goes big and someone doesn't bid on anything.
That is fair. And certainly not small bids. You know, we've only sold one movie for single digits, so no one is being shy. I believe I fixed the spreadsheet here, so the total should be more accurate. And so why don't we move into our next movie? It is The Legend of Ochi. Totally original concept here from our friends at A24, a Sundance darling, one for the kids and the adults. Looks like it could be a fun one, but will it break out in a sea of IP? Well, whoever buys it's going to find out. It's also coming out April 25th, going head-to-head with The Accountant 2. It is The Legend of Ochi, and it is open for bids. Someone's going to own this one. Let's find out who right now. And we start with one. I love it. I don't think we've ever... I have to look at what the lowest amount we've ever sold a movie for is, because it's not $1. So I wonder if that'll ever happen. But we're already up to 4 from Dan and Sarah. Looking to grab a little slice of this unique concept. Unproven director. Boy, this got boomer bust potential here. Colby and Laura have got it for 5. Looking to go back to back. They want to own this weekend. Is that Easter weekend? Is that 4/25? No. 6 to Matt. And do we have a dog alert? We have a dog alert. I showed the cat. Now we got okay, never mind. Doesn't like movies. Matt up to 8 right now on The Legend of Ochi. $8 to Matt. Going once. Going twice. And congratulations, Matt and Heather. You just bought it for $8. I was about to say, Kaylee, more available than Brian. Congratulations to Mether Storm on picking up that one, their second film. And we're going to keep the good vibes going here with our second Marvel movie of the night. It is Thunderbolts asterisk. which don't forget, it's a big part of the marketing. It is the, we just did the third, this is now the 36th MCU film and the final movie in Phase 5. It's the first non-sequel Marvel film since Eternals crashed and burned. We'll have to see how Captain America does, but will people get excited for The Baddies Gone Good in the Thunderbolts? It's coming out May 2nd to kick off is that Memorial Day weekend? It's probably early for that, but to kick off the summer blockbuster season, Thunderbolts is now open for bids. And we're immediately up to 5 with Dan and Sarah. I don't expect that to last very long. Kaylee is up to 6, Dan up to 7, Pat up to 8, 9. We're inching our way forward. Listen, I'd be shocked if this one sells for under 20, so let's keep working our way up there. We got a lot of numbers still to go. Dan at 11, hanging in there for a moment while the teams confer and make their decisions here. 11 to Dan Miller going once. 11 to Dan and Sarah going twice. And Matt just bid 2. Okay, no, 12. Okay. I was worried I'd have to explain how bidding worked. Dan to 13. Dan and Sarah want this one. 13 going once. No, 14 to Colby and Laura. 15 to Dan. 15 going once. No, 16 to Matt. So at this point, everybody owns at least one movies. Everybody's in the game. That's unusual. Last year we had a few teams waiting. Everyone's in early. 19 going for Dan. Dan and Sarah want this one. They love the asterisk. 19 going once. 19 and 20 from Colby and Laura. 21 to Dan. Few teams have stepped aside. These two heavyweights are battling for the Thunderbolts. But we got Dan and Sarah right now at 21. Colby and Laura debating. Laura shaking her head no. 21 going once. 21 going twice. Sold to Dan and Sarah to mix well with Paddington in Peru.
A lot of faith in the MCU there. Jeez.
I guess Sarah and I have always had an advantage, I guess, in that you can't read our body language.
Oh, stone face, total poker face. It's great. And it's working well. Be very curious. 21 is like right on that borderline of good value. You know, you didn't overpay, but you might have. So we'll find out coming up. I love the shrug. And boy, do we have an interesting sequel coming up here. It's Final Destination Bloodlines. It's the 6th film in the Final Destination franchise, but interestingly, it's the first since 2011. Maybe one of the longer gaps we've had between sequels, but they're bringing it back. The Rube Goldberg killing movie where death will come for you in the same way you might come to the movie on May 16th. We are doing Final Destination Bloodlines, and it is open for bids. And Dan's in with 1. We got a couple of 2s. We got 3. We got 4. Anyone here a fan of Final Destination?
Not particularly.
No.
It's one of those movies I've heard about, but I don't think I've seen any of them.
It's one of those movies.
I've read articles about it, though.
It's kind of like Saw, where it's like you don't need to watch the movies. You just watch the clips of how the people die in crazy ways, and it is very upsetting. So we got 6 to Nick. This seems right up Nick and Pat's alley. Matt for 7. 8
I'll go
to
8.
Pat. I'm trying to sell you guys on this one. We got 8 to Pat right now in the lead. 9 to Matt. Is this a reboot of the franchise or will it fall flat on its face? 9 to Matt going once. 9 to Matt going twice. They're debating it. And Matt and Heather picking up another one. You guys are really, the storm rolls on.
We didn't have a movie until like the very end of the last one.
I remember. And it did not work out for you. So I'm glad that you guys are being aggressive. And picking up some good ones. Honestly, not that I pretend to be an expert. But I think Final Destination is one of those franchises that at $9 you could get some good value out of that. So nice pickup for you guys. But we got to roll on to a big boy here. Mission Impossible, it is the final film in this $4 billion grossing franchise. The 8th film, the follow-up to 2023's Dead Reckoning, which grossed $173 million at the domestic box office. Tom Cruise, one final case or job. I don't know what he does. I don't watch those movies. But whatever it is, he's going to be on a plane and doing extreme stunts as usual. Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, comes out May 23rd, and it is now open for bid. $4 billion franchise up for grabs here. Pat is up to 4 to kick us off. 5 going to Kaylee right now. Pat is back up to 6. Now, I will point out, by the way, whatever you bid, half of it goes to Scientology. So just keep that in mind. We don't get to keep all that. 7 to Kaylee. Colby and Laura going way up, just to 10, and Pat to 12. Now you look here. We had Sinners go for 11, Paddington go for 16, and those aren't particularly no or small franchises. This is a big boy here. 16 going to Pat. But will people come out for the 8th? Dead Reckoning was not well received. So 17 to Colby and Laura right now, inching their way up. Pat throws in for 18. Would love to add this to their movies. We got 18 going once. I type in sold. 18 going twice. I'm going to hit enter. Sold to Pat and Nick for 18 smackaroos.
Do not bet against Tom Cruise. I'm sorry.
And it's the final one. Ving Rhames is in the trailer. Ving Rhames.
It's supposedly a $400 million budget. Let's see what happens.
Listen, not the worst one in the world. So interesting to add to Sinners and Captain America. A fun mix there, and you might want to add this next one as well. It's our second live-action Disney remake of the night. It's a live-action remake of the 2002 animated film, which at the time grossed $148 million, but has gone on to be quite a fan favorite. Just advertised it during the Super Bowl, and it's opening against Mission Impossible in the same May 23rd weekend. It is the live-action Lilo and Stitch, straight from the islands, and you can now potentially own it. It is now open for bid. And we're already up to 5 for Kaylee. Will she match it up with Snow White? It could be an interesting strategy, and she's fighting for it against Dan here. We got 7, we got 8, we got 10 to Kaylee, inching our way up here. 11 to Dan, 13 to Kaylee. Let's see, we got 14 to Dan, 15 to Kaylee. Chugging along here, 15 to Kaylee. Dan responds with 16. Dan and Sarah. Sarah's entered a tunnel or something. I'm not quite sure. But Dan's well lit and wants this one. Pat actually jumping in at 17, looking to get into the kids space. And it's Dan says it's the New Haven train change. I know it well. Yes, this is, people don't know this is a movie draft, but it's also a Metro rail travel enthusiast cast as well. Kaylee still got it at 17 here, guys. And she's going to get it here in a second. Going once. Going twice. Oh, and Colby just missed it. Oh, he just missed it. Devastating. So sorry.
It's in the right order on my screen.
Well, I've got it on tape here that it just inched ahead of you. Kaylee's going to take this one home for 17. Kaylee, how are you feeling about that? I believe
Lucy's not too happy about it. She just punched me in the head.
Oh no, not a fan.
I think 2 Disney movies. I got something cooking.
I will say, for whatever it's worth, Lilo and Stitch was my must buy of this list. I think it's not surrounded by any other kids movie, so there's no competition. Right in that prime May real estate at a very popular, very fun Disney film that I think is going to carry well into live action.
I think Stitch has only grown in popularity since that movie came out. It's like I don't know, any store you go to, they still have Stitch merchandise. People love that thing.
And their parents are millennials like us who loved the original when it came out. So I think 17 might be a steal. That's a nice pickup by McTastical.
Much lower than the budget I had planned, so I'll take it.
Well done. Well done. But listen, guys, we are halfway through here. So why don't we do a quick recap for the folks at home on what we've spent and what is remaining. These are not in any particular order because they're just not in my spreadsheet. McTastical has spent $35 on the 2 Disney films, Snow White and Lilo and Stitch. We also have Metherstorm has spent $37 on 3 movies, a Minecraft movie, The Legend of Ochi, and Final Destination Bloodlines. No real coherent theme between those. The Scorekeepers, $5 spent on 1 movie, The Accountant 2. Though not due to a lack of trying. 28 movie drafts later, $37 spent on Paddington in Peru and Thunderbolts Asterisk. And then finally, Artificial Guessing Intelligence has spent the most, $54 on 3 movies as well: Captain America: Brave New World, Sinners, and Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Whew. It's been a thrilling first half, but guys, there's still a lot of money out there and still a number of movies here. We're going to continue along in May 30th. We've got Karate Kid Legends. Now, this is the 6th film in the Karate Kid franchise and the first since 2010, which back then made $176 million. This one brings back Jackie Chan from the reboot and Ralph Macchio from the original. Will nostalgia power this to success at the box office, or will it be lost in the shuffle? Karate Kid Legends is now open for bid. And of course, Dan gets in with 1. Dan, do you have the 1 typed in already? And then, very smart. Maybe you'll actually buy 1 for 1. I would love for that to happen. But we're already up to 8 for Matt, 9 for Dan.
I need you to talk more so you distract people and they forget to bid.
I don't think anyone's listening to me. I think they're anxiously staring at the chat window. And we're already up to 15 with Pat. This one's rocking here. 15 to Pat and Nick, but Dan is in with 16. Gonna be competitive on this one. 16 to Dan. The boys are thinking about it, but Dan and Sarah have got it right now. 16 going once. No, it's 17 to Kaylee out of nowhere. Wow. 17 to Kaylee. 18 to Dan. Dan and Sarah haven't picked up a movie since Thunderbolts. They might get this one. 18 going once. 18. No, and Kaylee's in for 19. Pat and Nick are out. The question is, will Dan and Sarah respond here? 19 going once. 19 going twice. And we've sold it to Kaylee and Brian for $19, getting the back-to-back. Well done. Is anyone here Karate Kid fan? No.
Actually, no, wait, I'm a fan.
Are you going to go see Karate Kid Legends?
100%. I'm also like riding the high of Cobra Kai, so let's, keep it going.
Very smart. Very smart. That should be a fun one for the whole family. Unlike our next one, which is only fun for weird adults. I kid you not, the name of this movie, I didn't type it correctly in the sheet. The name of this movie is From the World of John Wick, Ballerina. That's literally the name of the movie. It's the 5th film in the John Wick franchise. It occurs between the 3rd and 4th films. I will point out each installment in the John Wick franchise has made more money than the predecessor, including the last one, which made $187 million domestically. I'm proud to bid From the World of John Wick, Ballerina, coming out on June 6th. It is now available for bid. And we're already up to... Okay, well, you can't bid 0. Actually, you could bid half. I would give you a half. I would give you 50 cents. No, you can't bid 0, though. Well, Colby and Laura never saw a movie they wouldn't bid on, so $5 there. Dan gets 6. Dan is... Okay, come on. Come on. All you got to do is win, and then I'll finally have to eat my words. But Dan's hanging at 6. 7 to Colby and Laura, but we're 8 to Dan. These guys are going back and forth. They've been in it all night. Going head-to-head, and Dan is already up to 10. Sarah, just a big fan of the John Wick and the ballerina, which I'm assuming is part of it. Dan and Sarah have it at 10. 10 going once. 10 going twice. And 10 is sold. Sold to the lady in the red dress and Dan, who are going to get this one for a whopping $10, which, hey, you know what? Like I said, each one's made more than the last. And at $10, listen, this thing does $120, $150. It's a good buy. So not too shabby for you guys. Let's move on to our next film here. We got an entry in the kids category. It is an original concept from our friends at the Pixar Animation Studios. Elio, it is their... I'd like to point out, I learned this in doing my research. Pixar hasn't had a $200 million plus release, non-sequel, since Coco back in 2017. Haven't hit on a lot of the non-sequel films, but this is going to be the first in a little bit with Elio coming out June 13th and is now open for bids. By the way, don't say it, but does anyone know what this film is about?
No.
I would love to hear guesses, because I know the answer. But just based on the name...
I know what it's about. It's about the pizza.
The Elio's, the little square pizzas.
Yep.
They made
It's
a
the
Why
best
would they
ever.
make a movie about the pizza?
I think it's about the founders of the pizza.
Oh, it's not. I thought it would be like the pizza comes to life, and it's about all the freezer food items, and they like talk to each other and learn about friendship.
I think
I'd watch that. We're already up to 16. I think people want some of that Inside Out 2 heat from last year. By the way, Elio is about a young boy who aliens come to Earth looking to speak to our leader, but they accidentally abduct a little boy. He's not the leader, and hence a movie. We're already up to 20 from Colby and Laura here. 21 to Matt. Listen, Kaylee's sort of owned the kids space so far, but we got one here. $22 now to Colby and Laura, their biggest bid of the night, I believe, on this one. We haven't had a single $30 movie all night, which is pretty impressive. 23 to Matt. People are kind of being smart. I'll tell you guys, you don't know the list for the fall. There's some big movies on it, so curious to see what's left at the end of the night. 23 to Matt and Heather, and 24 to Colby and Laura. They're going to inch their way up on this original concept. We got 24 from Colby and Laura going once, and 25 from Matt and Heather. Both of these want it. Colby's contemplating. Going once. Going twice. Is he going to do it? No. $25 to Matt and Heather. Picking up another odd one in their mix of films this year. Matt, what's the thought on this one?
I always liked Elio's Pizza. I don't know.
Okay.
I actually think DiGiorno's is better. Controversial opinion, but
Okay. Well, you can't bid on DiGiorno's.
not yet.
Well, if they
Not
make
yet.
a movie about it.
I think that's going to be the sequel.
Oh,
And then-
okay.
The trilogy, they'll wrap it up with Red Baron, I think, at the end.
That sounds like a good movie, actually. I would watch the Red Baron movie. That sounds actually.
Turns out he was behind it all along. So
Oh no, the cinematic
Yeah.
frozen pizza
Spoilers.
universe. All right, well let's head into a franchise we actually know something about. It is the live action remake of How to Train Your Dragon, the 2010 film. It's the first in the franchise since 2019's How to Train Your Dragon 3, which made $160 million domestically at the box office. They're rolling out a How to Train Your Dragon World in Orlando. Definitely a lot of hype around this franchise that's done historically well, but will people like the live action version? I don't know. We're going to find out June 13th when it comes out. It is How to Train Your Dragon, live action, and it is now available for purchase. Colby Lauren jumping quick with 5. Dan responds with 6. But Pat, well, we're already past it. Wow, this is going in fast. People are outbidding each other before they can even type it in. We're up to 11 for Dan, 13 to Pat, 14 to Dan, 15 to Colby and Laura, 16 to Dan and Sarah. Well, I'm not even going to read all the numbers because they're just going too fast. We're already up to 18 and making our way up. We're up to 20, 21. We're keep rocking and rolling here. This is our fastest sort of bid up of the night here, already up to 23. Mind you, most expensive movie of the night so far, 25, which Colby and Laura just bid. So will this become the most expensive movie? It's going to depend if somebody spends, and they will. It's going to be Matt and Heather for $26. Most expensive movie of the night. But how expensive will it get? It might end right here. 26 going once. 26 going twice. And sold for $26. Mather Storm does the back-to-back, picking up How to Train Your Dragon. Matt, great purchase.
thank you, Sean.
I really like it. I like the gross potential on that. I think it really is. Again, it's that millennial parent going with the kid who really loved the original. And it looks fun. So great job there. We're rounding into our last 5 movies of the night here. Changing genres a little bit. We really haven't had too many. I guess Final Destination a little bit, but 28 years later, the sequel to 28 Days Later from 2003 and 28 Weeks Later from 2007. Believe it or not, they're actually already working on a sequel to this movie. Hasn't even come out yet. So they got a lot of faith in it. The question is, will any of you? It's coming out June 20th. 28 Years Later is now available for purchase. 28 decades later. You want to know what's really sad? The working title is 28 Years Later, The Bone Collector. And I'm like, I agree. You had this nice thing going with the years, and they threw it away.
The Denzel Washington movie, Bone Collector.
That would be a great crossover, wouldn't it? No one see it coming. Dan is up to 10 right now. Kaylee up to 11. Pat up to 12. We got Pat and Nick are hanging at 12 here. Will it last? I'll point out the scorekeepers still only have one movie. We'll see how long that lasts. 12 going once. 12 going twice. And this one is going to be sold to Pat and Nick, adding a nice pairing with Sinners, I would say.
Listen, last year horror movies did really well. Maybe this year,
Honestly, you're not wrong. And there aren't a lot of big franchise horror movies in the first half of the year. There's some smaller independents, but nothing to really blow you away. So this might be a great pickup for you. All right. Continuing here with another original concept, but original in the fact that it is basically based around one of the world's fastest growing sports. It's F1, the movie. This one is directed by action guru John Krasinski, the man behind Oblivion and Top Gun Maverick, and stars Brad Pitt. Produced by Apple, believe it or not. It'll be in theaters first and Apple Plus later. Big budget film, lots of action, coming out on June 27th. The question is, will Americans go out and see an F1 movie? I guess we'll have to wait and see. It is now officially open for bid.
Sean, I didn't think they let the Unabomber make movies, but here we are.
No, not Ted Kaczynski, Joe Kosinski. But I see the confusion.
Oh, is it the...
And Matt just totally froze. Let's see. We're up to $6. Kaylee, F1. We got Colby and Laura at 7. Boy, wouldn't this pair well with The Accountant 2? We got Pat at 8. I'm sorry. I've been hard on Colby and Laura all night. I've been brutal. I gotta mock some other folks. Colby and Laura, though, they're maybe
unappreciated.
Yeah. Well, you're secretly my favorite team. Matt at 11. Matt and Heather 11 right now, but Colby and Laura for 12. Again, one of those movies could be a big hit, could be a nothing burger. It's a tough one. But Matt's jumping back in at lucky number 13, and Colby and Laura for 15. They don't want to see another one pass them by. 15 for Colby and Laura, 15, 16 to Matt. This one's starting to get a little pricey here. 16 for F1, 16 going once, 16 going twice, and congratulations, they're buying up a storm here. Mather Storm picking up another purchase for $16 this time. Well done. I'm starting to see a little bit of a trend here in these prices. People are being pretty consistent per movie. I'm going to be curious to see what we have left over at the end of tonight to take into July. But until then, we've got a sequel. It's Mithrigan. I'm just kidding. It's Megan 2.0. It's the sequel to the 2022 film, which grossed $95 million and went quote-unquote viral. The question is, what about a sequel? Could be a lot of fun. People may go out and see it. It's coming out June 27th into theaters this year. It's Megan 2.0, and it is now open for bid. And Dan's got to get at the one. Colby bids $2.0, and I wish I could give it to you for that, but unfortunately you've been outbid. Dan is now having it for $4 for Megan 2.0. I kind of wish they had changed the A to a 2, so it was like M3G2N. It just made it completely unreadable. Colby and Laura jumped back in for 5 on Megan 2.0. We just talked about horror movies this year and scary sort of twisty movies. They've been hot lately. $6 now to Nick jumping in on behalf of our artificial guessing intelligence team. Megan 2.0, $6 going once. Oh, and Colby and Laura jump in for 7. Jump in for 7. We've only had 3 single-digit movies here. Curious if we'll push this up to double digits. We got 7 going once. 7 going twice. And, just got it in there. Nick for 8. He's pumping the brakes. He's saying, we got this. We got this. $8 right now on this one. And Colby and Laura back in it for 9. They love the little robot lady. 9 going once. 9 going twice. And it looks like Nick and Pat aren't going to get this one. Colby and Laura, their second movie, sold for $9. Megan 2.0. Well done to the scorekeepers. And 9's not a bad price, considering how excited people got for the first one. So nice to add. Pairs well like a fine wine with The Accountant 2. So we're going to head to our last two movies, and we got two gigantic franchises here. Up next, Jurassic World Rebirth. It's a reboot with an all-new cast, but it's technically a sequel reboot. It's a sequel to Jurassic World Dominion, which grossed $376 million at the box office. It's the fourth Jurassic World film and the seventh overall Jurassic film. It is confusing, but the good news is Scarlett Johansson's in it and some other folks. They're all new. The dinosaurs are still around, wreaking havoc. It's a thing. It's going to be great. It's coming out July 2nd, right over that nice July 4th weekend this year. Could pick up some nice bucks. Who's going to get it? We're going to find out. Jurassic World Rebirth is open for bid. Matt, you can't bid a negative number. How would that even work?
They should pay us to watch this movie.
Okay, that's someone. I'm gonna tell Steven Spielberg you said that. He doesn't direct these anymore. We're already up to 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. This one's going fast. 18. I can barely keep up with the chat. We're already up to 20, 21 on this one. We're flying again. That 25 has been our most expensive movie. Oh wait, that's not true. We beat that. 26. And we're already at 27 here on this one. Could we break? And we're at 30. I was going to say the 30 mark. We're at 30 right now. 31 on Jurassic World Rebirth. People are jazzed about this one. We're up to 32, 33. Most of the teams have jumped in at some point on this one. Hanging at $33 right now for Jurassic World Rebirth. The dinosaurs are back. Kaylee got it for 33. Going once. Going twice. It's hanging. And it's, oh, Nick, you just missed it. You just missed it. Sorry. That's why we use the chat function, man. It's milliseconds. But unfortunately, Kaylee and Brian are going to get this one for $33. Great purchase. I notice your teammate, Kaylee, just joined you on the couch. Hello, Brian.
Hello.
Now, Brian, had you know anything that's been going on this evening?
Going on this evening?
Yeah, do you know what Kaylee's bought so far or anything like that?
No, I kind of just arrived. So we kind of switched because last time I made a bunch of decisions and she walked in and was like, "What did you do?" So
well,
this is her turn.
I'm super curious. I'm going to tell you what she's bought, and I kind of want to get your live reaction if that's okay.
Sure.
Because she's done a pretty darn good job. She has spent $137. Oh, no, that's wrong team. Sorry. No, that's the right team. No, you're McTastical. I didn't give you the right movie. I can't. This is why you guys. No more changing the names year after year. I'm giving people.
Pronounced McTastical.
Still McTastical. Spent $87. You own Snow White, live action remake, Lilo and Stitch live action remake, Karate Kid Legends, and Jurassic World Rebirth. How do you feel about that, Brian?
It's an interesting batch. Feels like there's solid hits. All nothing new, nothing original, but that's okay.
I went for the nostalgia factor.
Now, are you mad she didn't buy the Minecraft movie?
No. That
Smart
was a good
man.
decision.
Love it.
Although
Support
that's
the
probably going to get just a ton of kids.
I went for $20. That's a big one.
That it's probably going to get a lot of people, even though I don't think it's going to be all that good.
Very interesting. Hey, listen, our second place finish, $1 billion team last year. I'd take some of that advice. Well, you're just in time, Brian, because we have our final movie of the night is going up for bid, our 20th film here on the list. It is maybe one of the biggest franchises of all time. It is Superman. That's the first standalone Superman movie since Man of Steel in 2013. This one reboots the entire DC universe, led and directed by James Gunn himself. Early trailers have a positive buzz, but are people just over DC? It's going to be interesting to find out when it comes out on July 11th. This is it, guys. Now remember, don't spend all your money. You're going to want to save some. But certainly, this one's going to get us excited. It's Superman, and it's now available for bid. Dan starts us off at 1. And sold for what? No, I can't know that. That wouldn't be very nice, would it? Let's see. We're up to 3. We're up to 5. We're inching our way up here. I'm actually kind of excited for this one. I'm not a DC guy. I'm not a Superman guy. But I trust James Gunn, and the early trailers look interesting. So could be a nice fresh start here. We're already up to $13, now $14. Right now while these bids are rolling in, I'm looking at all the money spent, money remaining, and a lot of different strategies here. Very interesting. We're up to 18 for Pat, 19 for Dan and Sarah. We're waiting and seeing here. Who's going to get this one? Time will tell. We're up to 20 for Colby and Laura, 21 for Dan and Sarah. 21 is the current bid. 21 going once. No, and up to Pat at 23. Look at that, scooping them. Pat and Nick looking for to keep their superhero franchise going. Pairing our book ending our movies here with Captain America and Superman. But Dan's not going to let that happen. He's up to 24 on this one. Dan and Sarah. And we got Pat at 25. 26 to Dan and Sarah. Not hesitating at all to one up that one. $26 now at $27 for Pat. 28 for Dan and Sarah. This one's going to inch its way forward for a while, I think. 29 up to Pat, and Dan takes it up to 30, only our second $30 movie of the night after the last one, Jurassic World. $30 to Dan and Sarah, $30, and now $31 for Superman. He is the Man of Steel from the planet Krypton. It is $31 to Pat, $31, and Dan goes in for 32. Not wasting time. Not fooling around. He wants this one, but Pat's not going to let it go that easy. Up to $33 at this point. $33 for Superman going once. $33 going twice. And $34 for Dan. $35 for Pat. All right, guys, come on. We're going to be here all night. $35 for Pat. $35. No one wants to let this one go. Will it hit 40? Anything's possible. $35 to Pat. And Nick going once. $35 going twice. Dan's thinking. He's not going to get it. Sold to Pat and Nick for a whopping $35, our most expensive movie of the night.
What can I say? In James Gunn we trust.
Of the superhero movies in this list, that may be the most interesting. So I'll give you. It's got big potential. Awesome. Well, congratulations, you survived the first round of the movie draft. 20 movies sold, gone, off the list. Let's recap how all our teams did. And we'll go in orders of dollars spent. Starting with the lowest amount, the scorekeepers, they decided to hold on to their money. Hey, that could be a great strategy. Lots of great movies coming in the fall, so they just bought 2 for $14. The Accountant 2 and Megan 2.0. After them, 28 movie drafts later, spent just $47 on 3 movies, Paddington in Peru, Thunderbolts Asterisk, and from the mind of the people behind John Wick, Ballerina. After that, McTastical, $87, Snow White, Lilo and Stitch, Karate Kid Legends, and Jurassic World Rebirth. After that, I can't talk. I'm like out of words. Artificial Guessing Intelligence spent $101 and picked up some big boys. Captain America, Sinners, Mission Impossible, 28 years later, and Superman. And the team that spent the most money, Nether Storm, 104 of their 150 spent, 2/3, picked up a Minecraft movie, The Legend of Ochi, Final Destination Bloodlines, Elio, How to Train Your Dragon, and F1. Nice 6 movies there. Most movies drafted by a team tonight. Guys, anyone want to come out and say how they're feeling about how they did? Did they meet their strategy? Are they concerned? What's the overall thought here from anybody?
No concerns here, Sean.
Exactly what you want to have happened.
Yes. We're very happy with our choices.
Brilliant.
I'm not going to undermine my partner on this.
That's probably a good choice. I'm not going to lie. It is one of the more, because you do have a really interesting mix of big franchises and smaller films, which is definitely a strategy. So
couldn't be a better lineup, if you ask me.
Oh, I love the confidence. Anyone else is confident in what they picked?
I'm very happy Kaylee got Jurassic World because that's cornering the dinosaur.
Oh, there's your
market,
trophy.
Which I don't believe there's any other dinosaur hit movies, period. So
that's
bam.
Brian loves his dinosaurs, man. That's great. I'm glad you could do that.
Got my own trophy for that pick.
Outstanding. Any other thoughts? We got there's the picture of the trophy. That's blurry.
It's censored.
I believe it's there. I got a trophy guy. He's great. He does good.
Is the trophy guy Matt?
Oh, there we go.
No, it's not. It's no joke. It's an eBay store of like one-off rejected trophies that they can't sell, and they sell it to me very cheap. So that's where I get them. like returns. Like I get the returns and they rip the name off and put a new name on. It's great.
That's what I should have done when I left the trophy place. I should have opened a chop shop, trophy chop shop.
Yeah, apparently there's good money in it because they're still in business 10 years later.
Mm.
So,
Are
well,
they
listen.
shaped like things? Like there's a bowler on the top.
So I was looking for trophies the other day and they had one where it was like a big fish on top. Like, oh, they do all the crazy stuff. It's a lot of fun. So maybe I'll take requests from the winning team, but someone's got to win, guys. And we got a whole year ahead of us that I am very excited. I'll tell all the folks at home. First of all, thanks to all of our 5 teams for being here tonight. What a blast having everyone. I hope you had as much fun as we did. Of course, the show is up for debate at upfordebate.tv, the audio version wherever you get podcasts, and the video version, you can actually watch these guys do the draft on our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe there, and of course, get a hold of us, upfordebatetv@gmail.com. I want to end this with a little preview, actually, because would you guys like a sneak preview of some of the movies we're going to draft in July?
Yes, please.
Sean, I think you should act them out with charades.
There's
might be like
20 of
insult
them.
to
I
injury
don't
right
have
now.
the time.
See if we can guess them.
But there are some big boys. I'll skip the less interesting ones. We got the Fantastic Four coming out. The Bad Guys 2 from DreamWorks will be pretty successful. We got the Tron sequel, Tron Eras. We've got Now You See Me 3, which nobody will watch. But we have Wicked for Good, which is going to be huge. We've got Zootopia 2, which is going to be huge. And maybe the biggest movie of all, and frankly, I haven't even decided if we're going to draft it because it might be too big, Avatar Fire and Ash. So there's definitely some awesome stuff to buy here in the back half of the year for those who still have some dollars left.
Is that confirmed for this year? Is it actually hitting?
In December. Yep. That is the plan. And so either we're not going to include it, or I'm actually draft it in 2 halves, and you might be able to buy half and half of the gross. That's how big those movies do. So listen, folks, continue to stay subscribed to the podcast. Matt and I got some great stuff coming up. Next week, we're going to recap our Super Bowl prop bets. And then the week after that, we're running right to March Madness, which, as you know, could be anything. And we'll be recapping this all season long, coming back in July for more. But I want to let you all get back to your lives. Thanks for being here. So on behalf of all of our guests and Matt, I'm Sean. We appreciate you being here. We're going to see you next time for another great episode of Up for Debate.